Hello.
So Johnny's
It's not actually recording yet because
It says it is.
it's like live or something. Hang on.
well, just the blab. I don't think his actual recorder is.
The blab is indeed recording.
Okay.
So you're on YouTube.
All right. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
All right. So again.
Wow, that's creepy.
Oh yeah.
All right. Welcome to the May 2016 Ask Us Anything. We haven't done one of these in a while.
Yeah, Johnny, your shirt's awesome.
I think we have. Yeah. We have some live Q&As coming eventually from the Smarter Artist Summit, but we haven't gotten those yet. So
Yeah, you're everyone's noticing your camera looks super clear, which I've been noticing since he moved off.
that's funny that it. That I guess I never realized the camera was bad.
No, it wasn't a camera.
The same camera. It's
It's the
just
internet.
Yeah,
Just
well,
fine.
your internet is no longer garbage.
Well, I guess
So-
I didn't realize that it was unable to do that. I put I recorded a New Entrepreneur's Almanac and some Smarter Artist episodes earlier today, and I put them in Dropbox, and those are raw WAV files. They're pretty big, and they synced like right away. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's just so. I mean, I can't imagine your 5 megabytes per second. That just sounds miserable. Are we actually recording right now?
It wasn't actually 5. It was never actually 5. Of course, we're recording. What do you think? This professional intro isn't good enough?
No, it was.
This is for air, baby.
This is as good as it gets. Okay, got it. I do like Jim Wilborn says, if I meet Johnny in person, will I also have bad internet? And I think the
My
answer
internet
yes.
is not bad anymore.
I think it's catchy. But
There's a
no.
difference between Blab not recognizing me clicking on buttons and bad internet. That was
Yeah, that's all Blab's fault.
Yeah.
So should we get to this
No.
Dog and Pony show? No.
Yeah. Why don't you ask questions, start answering it, and then I'll be back in 5 minutes. I gotta go, like you said.
Oh, takes you 5 minutes after looking at Dave's grandma? I think you need to.
I know. I'm very excited.
All right, so we'll start up here at the top.
You guys are gonna make fapping noises the entire time I'm gone, right?
Definitely. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. I just finished a trilogy I've been working on for about a year, and now I'm shifting to marketing. Do you guys think there's any value to promoting books 2 and 3, or should I really push book 1 as a lead into the series? Thanks, Johnny. Congrats on the move. Well, Johnny actually doesn't care enough about your question to stick around for it. So,
Asshole.
so Dave and I will have to take that.
We'll have to care enough for all three of us.
I think we can do that. Yeah, I think there's value in promoting all of the books, but I think your big push is going to naturally be on the first book, because nobody who hasn't read, or I guess I should say few people who haven't read the first book are going to naturally care about the second or third book as much. And so if you just put all of your attention into the first book and make sure that that first book is as good as possible, it's going to be your primary marketing vehicle for books 2 and 3 anyway. Just make sure that your book ends on a really satisfying note, and make sure that your call to action is very clear at the back of the book. I think a lot of authors tend to make the mistake that their book is so engaging and they've done such a great job that the author or the reader is going to just automatically jump to the next book and they're going to go search for it. And that's just not really true. If you have a link that directly goes to that next book, that's great. And even more important, tell your reader exactly what you want them to do. Click on this link to start book 2 right now, and then give them a benefit. Find out what happens to so-and-so, really, put that in the reader's mind that there's a reason for them to go continue that story.
And if book 2 isn't out yet, I would direct them to a mailing list. And then once your second book does come out, I would update the first book to, change the call to action and have either a link to the book if you're only on one platform, or if you're on many platforms, a link to your website, which will have links to the other books where they are. Maybe.
Right. And I would add to that this may be painful as a new author if you spent all this time getting 3 books to market. Like, great job, because I think that's kind of smart to really start your marketing once you're at book 3. And so this may ouch a little bit. But if you can forego selling, those first 2 books, then you've got a really great funnel. The first book, just free. And then the second book is, a cookie for your list. So if somebody gets the first book, they read it, and if they want the second book for free, they get on your list. That will build your list a lot faster. So you just have to decide what you want, whether you want sales for books 2 and 3, or you just want you just want books for 1. It's hard to decide, and I can really make a case for either argument. But personally, I would rather have the list, and I have confidence that we'll put more books out in the future. So having that access to that reader is more important. But I also see the value in just selling too.
One thing that we did wrong, I think, is if you broke our Yesterday's Gone, the first season, down to episodes, how we originally released it. I don't think it's a satisfactory sort of cliffhanger, either the first book or the first season. If I were to redo it over again, I would have some conflict resolved rather than just ending on a cliffhanger. I would resolve at least 1 or 2 things. Whatever questions you set out in the beginning that seem like they should be answered in that first book, I would answer them and then raise new questions at the end if you want to do like an open sort of loop cliffhanger thing. But you want to give the reader some sort of resolution in the first book. Otherwise, they might feel like disappointed. They might feel like they're being strung along.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Well, Johnny is clearly still masturbating. So there's a couple of questions here that I want him included in, but whatever, the show must go on. So,
wow,
Lori,
you sound like a martyr.
well, no,
like guilt tripping.
No, I'm not trying to guilt trip him at all, but I want to hit these in order so we don't lose track of them.
On the cross and answer.
Fuck you. So I want to. Well, Lori has a question about Story Shop, and I know that Johnny's very excited about some of the recent developments, and so I don't want to exclude him. That's all. So Lori asks, "What update do you have on the Story Shop app?" And I wish. Okay, so there's a couple of things here. Seth wanted very much to get Story Shop out by the last day of April because he originally said, we were shooting for April. So that was last Saturday, I want to say. Yeah, that was Saturday, was the 30th. And he was very, very disappointed that he couldn't drop it. But there were just a couple of bugs. There were a couple of last minute bugs that reared their head. And I absolutely 100%.
Oh, I got to go for about 10 minutes. I'll see you later.
All right, later. These bugs came and just kind of reared their head, and it's better to just be late than to be on time and have something that's not our best foot forward. We're launching something brand new, and it has so much potential, and we just don't want to have a false start. And so he had to pull back, and he dealt with a lot of guilt about that. And we encouraged him and said, it's okay. All you can do is your best. And Seth and Josh have clearly been doing their best, And so now at this point, I had 2 different conversations with Seth today. And on the second one, we were talking specifically about the launch date for Story Shop. And it was kind of funny because he's like, well, there was so much pressure to get out there on time, but now, we missed that deadline. And now it's like, well, we can iron out a few more things. And so now that there's not that immediate pressure to hit that exact deadline, they're refining it a little bit more. And there are a couple of things that they were going to put in, the first update that are actually going to be a part of the beta. And so that means it's not happening this week. It will almost for sure happen next week. And we're going to have a more polished product. But having said that, there's also Story Shop is already at this point, even pre-beta, becoming something that is much more than any of us ever thought, ever imagined it could be. And a lot of this is under wraps and deep under development. But Story Shop,
2 or 3 separate things that he's not talking about that are under wraps and we can't talk about that are amazing. Unfortunately, I know that's a ball buster to say.
It is a ball buster, but really, if you if you believed in Story Shop, your mind is going to be blown. Not immediately, like beta is going to be beta, but I don't know, 6 months from now, Story Shop, it looks like it really will be a game changer in ways that we didn't see coming. And so we're very excited. So in short, the update is that it'll probably be beta next week. We're still looking for an actual launch in June, and really amazing iterations throughout the rest of the year. What's up, Chuckles?
Rachel says, "Yeah, well, we are all working on amazing things. We'll tell you about later too." So,
yeah, we're sorry. We suck. We know that is like, hey, we got awesome stuff over here that you can't see. But
but it's not. Awesome. We're not. We're just temporarily. It's more like a promise for the future. It's. By the way, how do I sound echoey to me because of this office with the hardwoods and stuff. How bad does it sound to you guys?
You don't sound echoey to me. Yeah,
sounds all right. Dylan Ryder says Story Shop has become more powerful than anyone can possibly imagine. Rachel Duncan says, I'm sorry. Kate Morgan said, I'm reading that as Skynet. I would love
Shut up. Stop talking now.
We don't even know.
Story Shop is going to be awesome. That's all we can say, and stop talking, Dave. Thomas Bennett wants to know, you guys register your copyright with the U.S. Copyright Office, and he also adds a PS that he is still alive. So that's great that you're alive, Thomas.
That always is good for a Thomas's live update.
No, you don't need to register with the Copyright Office. Trademark is different than copyright. If you have some idea that you feel you need to trademark, then you can look into that. But trademarking stuff, you need a trademark lawyer, and that is expensive. But copywriting, just by publishing it, that serves as your copyright. Not quite the same, but if you're worried about someone stealing your IP, then that's the purpose of copywriting, and you're already protected by publishing it first. Yeah. So looks like Kane McDonald might be the name. Hey guys, I've spent the last 6 weeks binging SPP and AUA. You guys are lifesavers. Thanks so much. Oh, that's not a question. Oh wait, no, there is. 2 questions, please. 1, building to launch on my
We're like House of Cards.
Building to launch on my first novel in September. I have 5 short stories and a small pre-existing tribe. Any suggestions on how to turn those stories into followers? Wattpad, free and Kindle Select. Also will share via Facebook and my list. Okay, let's handle that question first. You've got to be aware of conversion. From everything I know about Wattpad, the conversion to here's a free story on Wattpad, now go pay for it on Kindle is abysmal. I don't know of many. I know of a lot of people who have kind of blown up on Wattpad, but I don't know that that's led to any actual numbers. I know that Johnny's Fat Vampire did really well on Wattpad, but didn't translate to Kindle sales, right, Johnny?
Nothing significant, not proportionate to how many I was getting mad numbers of reads on Wattpad.
Yeah, I mean, if
I have a suggestion. So somebody recently asked on Facebook in our Sterling and Stone, the Summit group, they asked about using a short. They were asking whether they should. I don't remember if the question was like, focus on a pilot and launch that, and then have the pilot was a little bit different than the main story, and then come out with the main story, or would that be too much switch and bait? And what I said was, I would release the main story. I would save the pilot for your mailing list. And what I would do with a pilot is, if you have some, like, I love mystery in books. I like not knowing everything. I like to feel like the characters had a life before I started reading this. So my example was like, have 2 people at odds about something like that really bad that happened, and sort of hint at it, but don't really spill it all out. And you could use like your pre-story to flesh it out and have it free to your mailing list. Of course, you can't make it too big because then people would probably want it in the main book, I think. So it's got to be something that delivers on a mystery, in the example I'm thinking anyway. But it's a good way, like, if you really like the story and you want to know more about something that happened, join the mailing list and I'll send you that story.
Yeah, I like that suggestion a lot. And then the second question is, I'm about to do a 99 Designs pitch. I have an idea involving a man with a gun held to his forehead. Do Amazon, etc., have any rules on such images? All I've seen is stuff about heaving bosoms and S&M. Thanks. Yeah. Okay. So the thing about that is you're not going to be able to do any Amazon ads. I don't think you'll get blacklisted, but you won't get promo. I don't think Amazon will pick you up and promo you. And I mean, something like our cursed ads can't get, like, they've all been rejected because the way Amazon ads work is they're
scary.
Yeah, right. They're pulling the cover of your book, and that serves as the art for your ad, and you can't choose other art. It's 100% of the time it's going to be your book cover, and they've rejected our cursed books 100% of the time because the image is too scary, like that. Or I think they say frightening. I think the image is too frightening, and it's a werewolf, dude. Like, that's way less frightening to consumers than a gun to the head. So I know that Kamal Ravikant had that book, Love Yourself Like Your Life Depended on It. And it had a guy with a gun to his head, but it was a drawing, and it was done in silhouette. And it was, as tasteful as something like that can be. And, I think that got promo, but if it's anything that looks real, I think that Amazon is just simply not going to, promo it.
That example I gave, that was Mark Oetjens, I think that's how you say his name. I'm not sure. Who had asked the question in the private. But I didn't mention his name, though, because it was our private group, and I try not to mention something unless I have explicit permission. But he just said it was him on here, so now you
awesome. Okay, I lost my scrolling, so I had my thing queued, and that didn't work. So sorry, guys. Oh, and now let me go back. Is that happening to you guys too?
Faster. It happens whenever anybody types something.
Did you already? Yeah, it's a flaw in Blab. Did you already get to the ones that Amy sent via email?
Well, I have.
Okay, well, I got Bell Advance says, "Hi guys, first time here, catching up on show number 80 of the classic episodes. What do you think of the new Goodreads Kindle giveaways? 100 free books distributed to readers for $119. Seems interesting. Only open to U.S. authors right now, and I'm Canadian. I don't know about it, but it sounds like a good idea to me. I mean, just what I saw right there.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about it, and I'm glad you caught that question, Dave, because that's where I was on, the question I was on before I scrolled. So I don't know what I'm missing in between that and Johnny must be on Austin time, which is the first thing I have. But yeah, I haven't heard of that, but it does sound pretty cool, I guess. But I'm uninformed. We'd have to look into it.
Yeah, if Amazon, I'm curious if Amazon's actually delivering the books. I really like that idea.
Okay, so let's see what else. I'm sure blame the tech. This is all exciting for you guys, right? While we find questions.
Well, I mean, what about the ones via email? Because I have
yeah, we can do that while I'm looking. I like handling live first, but absolutely. Yeah, we also have my first time seeing the Grandma Muff. It's even better than I'd hoped. Not much of a question though. Yeah, we can grab a question here. So this is on the this was sent in. I purchased most of the guys' work through Amazon, where linking to the next book is easy. Smashwords is a different story. Save time and money with the season 1 box set. What are the options for that link? My profile page at Smashwords, a list of options. Johnny linked.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think I got this. So Johnny linked Fat Vampire on his Wattpad page. Oh, we were talking about that earlier, to his personal author website, and I think linked to Realm and Sands and the Smashwords Nook version of Unicorn Western. But my site isn't ready for much more beyond collecting email addresses. That 1 or 2 clicks to purchase is too valuable to miss out on saying, go to your favorite retailer. Okay, so there's a couple of things here. First, this is the danger of getting too many things in your catalog and a lot of time goes on, because if you're talking about a Smashwords version of Fat Vampire, that's like 4 years old at this point. Is that right, Johnny? Would it be 4 years old?
Yeah, about that.
And so like that's something that we've totally lost line of sight to at this point. I would keep things really simple. There's a lot of things that we wished we had future-proofed a little more. Like we wish we didn't have any, Smashwords specific CTAs out there. It's harder. if you, I know, I understand what you're saying about, the friction between sending them to a page with a bunch of other retailers to choose from, but actually that's a pretty logical choice. If you can build that page to where it's very neat looking, it has a, your book cover, a little description, and then just all the different places they can get it with clean, clear links underneath it. That probably is the best thing to do.
Yeah, I think that the idea of more clicks equals more friction is very much true, but I think you have to weigh practicality against it. And if you only have a few books, then fine. But once you have more than one, the permutations just become ridiculous. Book one's links to Apple, books one's links to Amazon, book two's link. It's just having a page is just so much more future proof, even if it's not ideal. Personally, I think.
Jim Wilborn asks a question. I took an internet business course recently that said webinars is the largest email list lead gen. True. Is there or fiction equivalent to a nonfiction webinar? So I think the thing with webinars is they're answering a question that, or they're offering a solution to a problem that you have.
Right.
Like for a writing thing that you're going to do, like how do I sell more books? Well, that's an easy webinar to do. You have somebody come on and answer the question and give you some advice. There's nothing like that in fiction. We're not solving people's problems in fiction. So I don't know what would be the equivalent of that other than meet the author or something, but they kind of already have to be fans for something like that to work.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you could do some big fan service thing. Poor Neil Gaiman always gets used as the example in this kind of stuff. But if Neil Gaiman were to have a webinar, I think a lot of people would show up, and he could probably build a list that way. But
he's already got the list. That's the thing. He doesn't need it. Once you can do it,
no,
you don't need it.
It's absolutely true that doing webinars in nonfiction is a fantastic way to build a list. There's no doubt about that. But like Dave already said, you're solving a problem. It's very specific. The value proposition is very clean. It's just not the case with fiction.
Okay. Carol begins. What kind of self-talk did each of you give yourself to build a daily writing habit before you started making money from your books?
Well, I had a daily writing habit because I had to not lose my house. So I was writing, like 20 articles a day. But I already had the habit. So it just wasn't hard. Right. It wasn't hard for me to transition from nonfiction to fiction because I had more fun with fiction. And so I could keep my word count, but write things I like more. So I didn't have to have that self-talk. But I think for a lot of people, it's just believing they can do it. And I think now our community is filled with enough people who, have done it that I think we all know it's possible.
Tammy Lebrecht says, I'd love to hear Dave's self-talk next time.
What do you say, Dave?
You'll hear it when you get paper. And
I say, oh God, Sean's going to kill me if I don't write this.
I'm the devil.
If I didn't have a writing partner, I don't know what my self-talk would be, other than I really want to tell a story. When I sit down to tell a story, a lot of it is pantsing for me. And when I sit down to write a story, I want to know what's going to happen next. And I don't really know until I sit down and start writing for a lot of the stuff that we write. I mean, we do plot out a good chunk of it, but a lot of it changes. So when I sit down, for me, it's like story time. Okay, people, tell me what's going to happen now. And it feels alive in a way. But for me, it's also partly frustrating when it doesn't come. So I really got to kick myself to do that. What about you, Johnny? You seem very...
Yeah, but he's had issues lately, right?
I was like, fuck you. But no, I think it took me a while to understand what you were saying.
Don't tell people about my erectile dysfunction.
You just meant because of moving.
You've had a lot of
stuff.
chaos just in like.
Yeah, but I think that's different though. I think it's before we were making money. I don't know. I'm easily excited.
That was a different question.
Yeah, I'm easily excited to the point where and I know that Sean shares this disease. And actually, Dave was talking earlier about protecting himself against this disease because Sean is so excited that Dave's like, okay, I'll reserve judgment because motherfucker gets excited about things and then it doesn't happen. But I have that. And so once I started selling a few books, I convinced myself that, okay, now I'm going to be making money. I'm going to be making a living from this in a month or something like that. Like I developed immediate unreasonable expectations to the point where I just would doggedly pursue it. So it was never a question of like, just my makeup is not such that I would get discouraged if the goal is money. It was more that I wanted to do it, and I thought it was exciting to be able to make money this way. And I had other ways to make money that I didn't love, but they were there. So I don't know. It didn't take positive self-talk. It just took like, wow, this is kind of cool. Because remember, I came up through the thing where you had to do query letters and hope somebody would accept you, and then they wouldn't. And so the fact that you could put anything out and make any money was immediately a step in the right direction.
Kathy Pelham says, I think Caro is saying, how do you focus on fiction when copywriting is paying the bills? I think you just got to say, is this really what I want to do? And if it is, then you just find a way to do it. That really is.
Yeah, I would do it because it's fun. Like my default would be, I would err on the side of spending too much time doing that. It wouldn't be a matter of getting me to do it. I'd be like, well, okay, you need to stop now and go do what pays the bills. That would be the harder thing for me.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we all want to write fiction or we wouldn't be here. We all have other jobs, probably making.
Yeah. When
money.
I started writing fiction, it was actually at the peak of my earning, and it just, Dave and I had just finished season 1 of Yesterday's Gone, and I wanted to jump all the way. Like I wanted to do it full time. And so I had to say goodbye to what was very lucrative money at the time and just figure this will all work out. So it's just it's a personal decision. And I've said it a bunch of times. I did it too fast. I probably should have hung on to some consulting clients and dabbled a little more, but whatever. Like Johnny, I have unreasonable expectations. This is going to be awesome.
I always leap before I look.
So that's okay. It's a personal decision for everybody, but for me, I'm much more concerned about how excited I am to work and how fulfilled I feel by what I'm doing than I am about the actual money I'm making at it. So I'm willing to go a little bit sooner than most people, I think.
Okay, Kate Morgan had a question that kind of disappeared because these things are fucked up on the sidebar. She said, so if a creative were to consider relocating to Austin, what should they be aware of, i.e. super hot summers, cost of living, etc.?
I'm glad I saw that and it did disappear. It is super, super hot. The cost of living is higher than a lot of cities, but lower than, like, I came from Southern California. It's way less than that. It's way less than California in general. Certainly less than probably New York and Chicago, but definitely more than Ohio, which is where I was before here. And it is hot during the summer for sure. Other than that,
I will interject.
Yeah.
About the heat, because now granted, I haven't actually been through an Austin summer yet, but I will say that I've been shocked going outside I can see the number on my weather app that tells me how hot it is. And I know what that number normally means. And I'm shocked at how it feels. So today's was a good example. It was mid 80s, Sean, when we were on that call. I want to say like maybe even upper, like 86, 87, something like that. And every time I walked through the shade, it was like, oh, I could pause in the shade and it was cool. And I guess what I'm saying is from where I'm from, 87 here sure feels a hell of a lot cooler than 87 at home felt because of
right. It's a drier heat. It's nicer. It's not like Long Beach, which is like, I didn't realize how spoiled I was growing up. Long Beach is just kind of has amazing weather. It's like 80 is just really pleasant. It's dry and there's an ocean breeze and it's nice. Here it's drier. It's not Long Beach nice, but it's not all like hot and sticky, and it feels nice. Now in like August, September it gets past 100 and that's uncomfortable for sure, but still it's not like
you might also need to worry about flash floods in the coming water war.
Right, flash floods and the coming water war.
Yeah. We don't have to worry about flash floods.
Yeah, Johnny and I are up in the hills, so
Okay, you guys don't realize how hills work. Flash floods can erode hills and send houses flying off into the nothingness.
I don't know that you understand how physics works.
I've seen flash floods in
Oh,
hilly
Dave,
areas.
we love you so
Right.
much.
California has
Okay.
had problems.
Catgirl Studio says, I learned in school that for every click your viewer has to click, you lose 17%. Yeah, that's one of those numbers that there's a lot of truth to that. And you'll hear that all the time about, friction and conversion online. And I absolutely agree with that as a theory. But there's a lot of stuff there. There's a lot of nuance there. And it depends. If you've really warmed up a reader and you're leading them through a very intentional sequence of clicks, that might be something different. So,
yeah, which 17% are you
Right.
losing? Is a good question to ask.
And so, this is one of my favorites too, where this was about 6 or 7 years ago. And there was, there was only one way to write a sales page. You had to get them like everything on one page and get them, lead a reader all the way down to the page till they're clicking the buy at the bottom. And then someone else came out and they did a sideways sales page where it was a little bit of copy on each page, and they click to the next page, they click to the next page, click to the next page. And that's actually really effective because it's reinforcing the clicks and making them want something even more. And it depends. It's a context thing. And I think that we're writers and we're leading people on a journey, and we're not writing long form sales letters at the back of our books, right? So
are we're writers anything like
yeah, they're like we're bears,
We're
actually.
bears?
Yeah.
I'm a
So
we're writer.
so yes, that is true, but I think you need to put that in context.
There you go.
Oh, Rachel Duncan says, okay, Dave, of the worst case scenarios, when I was reading Crash, there was a scene where the protagonist didn't want someone to go off in a thunderstorm because he didn't want them to be struck by lightning. That was all you, wasn't it? Actually, it's my son. He's very afraid of lightning.
So is mine. We should get them together.
They can feed each other's anxieties.
Oh, he freaks out. He goes in. He used to go sleep in the basement. Now we don't have a basement. He goes and sleeps on the couch downstairs.
Still? Wow. How old is he?
He's 11. He doesn't like the he doesn't like storms. He's just freaked out by them.
You should do nothing but show him Weather Channel tornado specials.
Because that's the kind of father I am.
It's the if you get enough
Desensitization.
exposure to anything, you become less afraid.
All right. So
Yeah.
Tim Wilborn asks,
Mhm.
are there any interesting new lessons you've learned as a result of starting the Legendary imprint? Yeah, there's a few. Legendary it's fantasy. So fantasy isn't quite as ravenous as romance, but it's up there. It's close. It's the vertical has definitely taught us the value of having all of your books related. That's huge. It means you can really push the very first book in the series, which at Legendary is Nightblade, the very first Nightblade. And if people come into that funnel, they read all 4 existing Nightblade books. We have the 5th one coming out relatively soon. And then there's a second series that's already started. And, and they can read that series, and it's in parallel, so a slightly different timeline, but basically within the same time frame and one major overlapping character. And if you're interested in the one series, you're going to be interested in the second series. So it's really easy to just kind of hold that reader. It's also a lot easier to engage that reader because every time you send them an email, it's related to the same stuff. So Realm and Sands is the opposite. We are always dividing our readers' attention with, hey, look at this other thing that you may like, right? But it's just not as hyper focused. All of even our sci-fi, we have the Beam and Robot Proletariat and Invasion. And so our sci-fi is even a little bit different. And so having something that's all fantasy, and not just all fantasy, but all the same world, makes it really easy to market. Also, it's a very good argument for Select. Those books do very well in Select. They really thrive within the Select ecosystem, which means not only are we getting a lot of page reads, but we can run Amazon ads, which continue to feed the beast. So there's that. And also Facebook ads for just list building targeting to fantasy authors seems to be, very successful too. So Legendary's been, a great imprint so far.
Okay, we had another question that was mailed to us from Matthew, which was also Smashwords related. He said, "Is there any reason to have a Nook or iBook author account if you have one with Smashwords?" Second, he loves Scrivener, but it hurts him to have to go back to Word for Smashwords meat grinder. But I understand why it's necessary, and I don't want to have to pay someone to format.
Yeah, I'm surprised at that's the second or third Smashwords question.
I think it's the same person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So, go ahead. Dave.
Well, there's one more to it. But on the meat grinder thing, I think they take EPUBs now.
They take an EPUB, so you don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah, that was my big hate with that whole system. And there's no way to time the 15 minutes of fame Smashwords. I keep wanting to say Smash Mouth, by the way. Is your book upon release? Is there? If there were, when would you think would be ideal? People buy most books on weekends, I think. Can you narrow it down any? Even if it's a minor boost to sales, it would be good to know, for example, when to end pre-order.
I just think it's
okay. So a couple things there. That's the way Smashwords. I don't know. The way Smashwords used to work was there was a process after. It's like an approval period, and after it got approved, then it would go new, and that's when you would get that kind of flash, and it dies very quickly. So it is nice to capitalize, but I don't think that you can schedule around it because you never know how long it's going to take them. It may take 24 hours, it may take a few hours, it may take 72 hours. And so if you don't know, then there's no real way to maximize that. And as far as Smashwords, I mean, personally, I would just use Draft to Digital, for a lot of the it sounds like you're using that as a reason to not go straight through, iBooks or Nook. But Draft to Digital does the same thing. And yes, you will lose a little bit on percentage, but you're going to have a really clean dashboard interface. You're going to have possibly more marketing potential. It's just a better system overall.
Yeah, basically, you don't need for any given book. You don't need iBooks author or what's it called now? Is it iTunes Producer?
I think it's iTunes Producer.
I have it
yeah,
it's iTunes Producer, which honestly, like, I love Apple, but that doesn't make any sense because it should be iBooks Producer. I mean, iBooks is separate, but whatever. So it's called iTunes Producer. There's no need for that on any given book, that and an aggregator. So Smashwords. I would agree 100% with Sean. I would, if you're going to use an aggregator, i.e. not direct through Apple, I would use Draft to Digital. I would go there instead. It's so much faster. It's a better interface. I think the updates seem to be faster. It's cleaner. I know Smashwords is its own marketplace, but I sell stuff at Smashwords so rarely that when I get an email telling me that I've sold something, because they do that, I'm like, oh, like it reminds me that I never sell. Right. Like, that's what it does.
Their emails are basically an advertisement for not going on Smashwords, because it's true. You'll get, we've had some very good months across all of our platforms, and then we'll get one email from Smashwords. Congratulations, you made $3.
You sold a book. You've got mail.
Got mail.
Canuck Runner, sorry, just have to interject here, says that he or she, I don't know, popped in because our icon looks vaguely like the logo for a BAA, the parent of the Boston Marathon. Well, you don't know what you're getting into, so
run now.
So I hope you enjoy.
Boy, you ain't from around here.
Do you believe? Okay, this is Caro Begins CCSL. Do you believe there's an optimal number of books in a series, and if so, how many? So my answer on that is no. It depends on the series. For example, the Legendary. The Underrealm series with Nightblade and Academy Journals and the upcoming Tales of the Wanderer and like a big title that I'm not allowed to say yet. That's all technically in a series, even though there's micro series. The micro series will go on for several years. And if you put them all as like one umbrella series, then, you're talking about 50 plus books. So that's the far end. I know that there's romance series gone on for just like countless books. We had Ed Robertson on not too long ago, and he was talking about how, after about 7 books, that's it. Like, you get diminishing returns because you're always going to sell a little bit less of each book. Julie Huss just had one. I think she had 14 books in that series, and by the end, only diehards were still in it, so she just wrapped it up. We have Invasion right now, which will end at 7 books, and that was very intentional. We thought 7 books seemed about right to tell that particular story. So I think it just depends. I don't think there's an optimum number. I think you want to study your market. I think you want to see what readers in that particular genre, what they expect. If most things are trilogies, then a trilogy is your right answer. If most books in that genre are about 7 books, then 7 books. And of course, don't be dogmatic about it. Really think about, coloring outside the lines a little bit, but just know what your readers expect.
I don't think we really answered Kate Morgan's question about what do you call it? About moving to Austin. What is it? Is it more expensive? I know it is in the best school district, but otherwise, is it comparative to other places, like cost of living and stuff like that? Job market.
I think the job market is very healthy here. I know that again, it depends on what you're looking for. I know that the dating market here is great. The job market here is great. The schools are fantastic. It depends on what you like to do. If you want to, if you love live music, this is the live music capital of the world. If you want good food, it's great. If you want, arts, I love my children's school because they're learning things like script writing and podcasting and that video game making and robotics, just like cool future stuff that they're getting right now. And I think that's really special. There's always stuff to do, but if you're looking for like really low cost of living, it's probably not the best. What I like about Austin is it has a lot of the things I love about Southern California. People are really, really chill here. One of my favorite things before we had the Smart Artist Summit, and there was talk in the Facebook group, and people were concerned about how to dress. What should I wear? And somebody in the group said, "It's Austin. Wear black yoga pants. That's formal wear." And that is very true. You go to very nice restaurants here and people are in jeans.
I'm not wearing black yoga pants. I already told you.
I think you should. Actually, it would be awesome. But I mean, personally, for me, I could live pretty much anywhere, and I very much choose to live in Austin. I love this place.
I will say for my reason for going to Austin is evident in my day-to-day life in Florida. I was having this conversation before. Here, like when I'm around people here, they don't talk about ideas. They talk about other people. And it's usually like stupid shit, like gossip and stuff that I want nothing to do with. But when I'm in Austin, like every conversation was about ideas and creative shit and stuff that like makes me like energetic and not want to hate the world. So that's all the reason I need to go there.
Did you see Kate Morgan's "Fuck You, Florida" thing that was in the comments?
I did. Yeah. I saw something here, but this thing just keeps. Amy says, "I don't know why Sean knows about the dating market here."
It was from Mate?
Yeah, actually, it's because I read Tucker Max's Mate book, and he talks about dating markets.
Yeah, I thought the exact same thing. I was like, "Oh, good, I can date."
Well, if someone's in their 20s and they're looking for a place to move, this is a pretty good place to. I'd be very happy as a single person in my 20s in Austin. It seems like there's like a lot of bars and like not like the kind of bars I wouldn't ever want to go to.
Amy, just stop talking. I'm glad it's you putting your foot in your mouth.
All right, fine, fuck you.
Yeah, check out last week, 2 weeks ago, worst show ever. If you want to watch Dave put his.
No, we don't want to remind people. I thought we were taking that one down.
All right.
You think of taking everyone down?
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so what do you guys think of the Kindle Scout program? I don't think too highly of it.
Well, I'll read what it is in case people don't know. It's a reader-powered publishing for new, never-before-published books. It's a place where readers help decide if a book gets published. Selected books will be published by Kindle Press and receive a 5-year renewable terms, a $1,500 advance, 50% ebook royalty rate, easy rights reversions, and featured Amazon marketing. I would say if you don't have anything going on, it might be a good way to get your foot in the door, get a little attention, maybe a little bit of marketing. I don't see too much of a downside there. Me personally, go ahead.
I'm
all over it.
not going to shit all over it. I think if you kind of know what you're doing, it's I feel like they're looking for easy wins there, and I don't know. I don't see a lot of benefit in.
It's a better percentage than we got from 47 more.
That is true.
As long as you're sitting on something in advance.
That is very true. But no, I think it's maybe for a newbie, somebody who's. I think if you know what you're doing in this business, I don't see much of an upside there.
Yeah, and I think if you write something that's really popular with the people that read those particular books, and I don't really know the genre enough to know, but I think if something does really well in that sort of thing, then it creates extra buzz for your book. I think it could be a very good thing if you're writing for the right market in there. And I don't know what that market is, but to me it seems like it could be very good. And if it's bad, well, I don't see too much of a downside. It's renewable. 5-year renewable terms. Yeah, that part does bother me a little. 5 years is a long time to lock up something, but other than that,
yeah, I agree. I think 5 years is a long time. Okay, this scrolling thing is driving me nuts, so I'm gonna go.
Okay, Buddy Gott says, in the Karma Police series, does a big secret plot twist have anything to do with the reincarnation of Hitler leading the collectors? That's my guess. You got it, buddy. Hitler in yoga pants. It's a whole thing. You ruined it. I may as well not even bother writing it now.
It's Hitler's flashlight, right?
No, it does. And I still contend that nobody will guess the twist. And I am very much looking forward to when we do reveal the twist and just nobody knowing it. That's going to be
Lori says, would we be here if we really knew what we were doing? Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're just, I think all of us right now are all figuring it out all the time. And I think that that's kind of the magic of the indie industry, is that we're all in this together.
I love that you claimed yesterday you don't say magic. You do say it a lot. And
all right. Well, now I hate you.
A lot.
He was like, I never say magic. And now I've said magic 3 times. Motherfucker, you say magic all the time.
All right, fine. I love the word magic.
Lori said it was a joke.
But no, I think there's truth to that. I think that, this is all still frontier, and we're all figuring it out as fast and hard as we can. And I love that. I love that we have a community to kind of
faster, harder
share when we figure it out. So, yeah.
Kathy Pelham asks, can you estimate a cost of book launches with print, audio, ebook promotions, covers, etc.?
Well, it depends on what your costs are. I mean, if you're hiring somebody to do that for you, then it's obviously going to be more. But it can be, I mean, other than like cover and edit, it can be, I can't think of any other big expenses,
pretty low,
right?
but like look at all the things there. Like you could pay for blog tours, you could pay for Facebook ads, you could pay for a really high-end compile. You could pay somebody on audio, you could pay $50 a finished hour or $300 a finished hour.
Or you could record it yourself, technically.
Right.
Tammy Lebrecht says, but if I hire someone, I can use everything.
If you even with covers, you could do anything from, a pre-made at $50 to Demans at $500 to something custom for a couple of $1,000s. So I don't think there is a number for that at all. Somebody else asked, and the stupid scrolling thing, I lost it. But the question was, if you're writing serials, are you going to end up spending a lot more on covers than regular standalones? And I think by nature, probably, because you're just going to have more covers in your series. Now you could do something where you've made like a template and each cover just looks slightly different, where you're changing some of the elements, but the overall look is the same. And if you kind of strategize that out ahead of time, and maybe there's let's say 12 books in your series and you kind of have the artist do them all at once, you could probably pay less per cover in that way. But I think in general, yes, if you have a serial, you'll pay more because there's more titles.
Kate Morgan, I'm trying to scroll back up to find it. Basically, she said she lived near California where Sean lived. I think she lived near where Johnny did, and now she's in Florida where I am.
Wow, that's coincidental, isn't it?
Maybe she's stalking. C.A. Baker writes, says, and editing as far as cost. Yeah, that's true. And there's huge variance in what you spend on editing. So you could spend $10,000 on a book. You could also spend a couple hundred. So it just depends. And I think it depends where you are in your publishing career too, because you could justify, parlaying your wins, right? If you're making more money publishing, then you can spend more on, really refining your quality. Is there a release date yet for Devil May Care? I loved Axis of Aaron, so I'm totally stoked for this one. We don't have a release date on it this year.
Way to nail it down.
I'm eager to get it out there. There's some sort of last minute stuff that we want to tweak about it. But yeah, I don't have it's weird that we have that because there are several titles, well, at least two, that and Dead City, which have just been sitting there, and they're both, in my opinion, very good.
Yeah, Dead City should probably be late summer.
A little painful. Yeah, but with Dead City, we're waiting on the Indie Fiction podcast, and it needs to be recorded, and it is in progress, but it's not yet.
Kate Morgan says, "Why do you think I'm eyeing Austin? Damn it, you're on to me quick. Relocation."
Jim Wilborn says, when and how should one find a mastermind? Is it worth it for fiction? Yeah, for me,
I don't know that.
Yeah, go ahead, Johnny.
Well, I was just going to say it's hard for me to imagine it being literally for fiction in the way that I understand a mastermind to normally work. And what that would mean is, you're paying to be there. And if it's literally just for fiction, then I'm imagining that being like for ideas. If it's for book marketing, then that's something else. And that's not terribly different from what the Stone Table is, really. But anything that helps you sell and gets you around smarter people can be worth it, depending on the people who we're talking about and the price tag and all of that stuff. But if it's literally just like idea generation, that's a lot harder.
Honestly, I don't think. Okay, now let me qualify this for a second, because I've never ever. I've been in love with the idea of masterminds for a long time, and now I've never more so. I actually spent we didn't have a live SPP last Friday because I was invited to a local mastermind in Austin, and I did that Friday and Saturday. And I just, it's so magical to be in a room with just really smart people kind of breaking down problems. It's magical. And so I really do love it. But I don't think I'd want to be in a mastermind that was all fiction, because what makes a mastermind really special is that it's different ideas, it's different people, and they're just kind of pushing their ideas against each other. So I would want fiction. I would want nonfiction. Stone Table has people who aren't even writers. They're in other creative disciplines. And I think that's what kind of makes it work. Now, you don't have to use mastermind with a capital M, though. I mean, you could just find like-minded people and you're bouncing ideas off of each other, and you don't need anything formal for that. I mean, you could do an informal mastermind with just a few people, and that means just maybe you meet once a week. Maybe every Thursday at 4:00 you meet and you guys just talk about what is and isn't working for you. You can share your ideas for sure, fiction stuff. And I think that's, a very healthy way to organically get a lot of the benefits from a mastermind without having it be, something formal. All right.
Dave left, and I've been assuming you've been looking at questions. I still have these emails.
Yeah. Okay. Why don't you hit ones that came in email, and then I'll go to the bank after that if we hit all those.
Okay.
All right. So is there? Oh, actually, what were you going to say, Dave? You're going to make a comment of some sort.
Wrote, if Dave has died in a flash flood, I'll never forget myself.
Awesome. And awesome that I just said awesome, and then
Magic.
no, Kate said at least he stopped saying awesome every third word like in the early episodes.
You haven't
Yeah.
lived till you've had to hear multiplicity a number of times.
I've actually the one with the smash words we've actually already read. Do you want me to do any of these other ones?
Yeah, anything that came in email, because I only copied one of the emails over to the doc.
All right, so this is another smash words one. It might be from the same person. Actually, this is the same one. This is the Fat Vampire box set one. So these have been covered. There's one more. I have one more in email, I think. No, I guess not. So you can go ahead.
Okay, so L.M. Parker says, what are your thoughts on publishing a novella in paperback? My first book is a little under 38,000 words. I'm planning on sticking solely to ebook, but a few people have suggested that I offer a paperback version as well. I see the downside there at all. I mean, you'll spend a little bit to get a quality compile, and you'll need a print cover for it. But once that's done, there's many reasons for it. It actually, and it may really help in a novella because your price will be lower for that on the ebook side. But if you have a print version that can anchor it a little bit, maybe that'll be $9.99. I'm making up the price. I have no idea, but maybe that's $9.99, and then your novella price is $3.99, and so that looks cheaper as a digital purchase, and that would make it worth it. But it's just nice, if people love your book, some people will want to buy it in print, and I don't see the downside of doing print at all.
Dylan Ryder says Hugh Howey put a couple of his novellas in print, and his fans seem to appreciate it.
Yeah, I think it's worth it. Ceridium MN says, I'm finishing working my way through Write, Publish, Repeat, and I was wondering how the funnel CTA email list methods change when writing juvenile fiction targeted at third and fourth graders. Middle grade fiction is rough. Juvenile fiction is just hard because you can't market directly to the readers. You're marketing to the parents, and it's a tough beast. We actually don't have a lot of CTAs in our middle grade stuff for that reason. You can market towards parents and stuff on Facebook, but it's harder. I don't really have a great answer for that. Middle grade is, a nut that we still have to crack. And, the middle grade authors that we know, they have the same problem. They don't get any traction on Amazon. And I know that both Donovan Shear and Clark Chamberlain, who write middle grade, they get like 99% of their business in conventions and live events and just sell, directly to kids and parents. Rachel said it's more of a Van and Candy situation. Wow, that's dark. Yeah. I'll go to the list here from Jennifer. My question is about when you give away a book for free. Do you create a code for a free ebook? Are you giving away a PDF file they can copy and share, or is it a one-time download code? When you give away a book for free, you can just send them to a download link and ideally some kind of directions that help them to sideload it, either the EPUB or the Mobi onto their device. And show them how to do that.
There's a service that'll do that.
Oh, that's right. Or BookFunnel.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
We just
actually, Dave just started using that. Dave, why don't you speak on BookFunnel?
We just started. Okay, one of the biggest time sucks for me and Amy, who both of our emails were in our emails. Both of our addresses were there, so people could write either one of us. So whenever people had trouble sideloading a book onto their device, they would email both of us, and it was very time consuming. And sometimes it would be a lot back and forth with somebody that just doesn't get technology, and they're having a lot of problems, and you got to be patient and help them out. But BookFunnel is a service that does all of that for you. You pay a fee, and I forget what it is. It's definitely worth the money, though. And you load your books on there, and you create links to it, and you just send that in your email list, and then the person will go there, and there's all different ways that people can actually download the book to their device. They actually have an app that they made for Kindle where it will sideload onto the device for you. It basically walks the reader through everything, so you get zero email. You might get the occasional person, and then they'll ignore the instructions and just email you anyway. But most people will they can contact BookFunnel, and they have people on staff that will help them through it. And since we've done that a few weeks ago, I've just gotten like 1 or 2 emails, and I don't know if they were from new or older readers.
Oh, hallelujah.
They had the old links. I don't know how many Amy's getting right now, but it's definitely awesome. And we're going to have Damon Courtney. He's the guy behind it. We're going to have him on SPP at some point and talk about it. It's definitely well worth the money.
That's great. I knew we had done that.
Damon told us about BookFunnel a while ago. And do we have an account? Like I would like
to.
I'm just like, oh no, one more thing I need to do and figure it out and go get
we
the
have
link
an account,
and all that
it's
stuff.
so easy. It's so easy. You put your book on there. You put your copy. You put it like a tagline or whatever, and it's so fucking simple. It's beautiful.
Dave must like it because, Sean, have you noticed he's using his ad read voice and we're being paid? We aren't being paid by BookFunnel, so you may want to
paying for
grow it up a little bit.
Yeah, he totally is.
They do have a free service. I think they do have a free service. I could be wrong on that. We were trying it out, but we're going to upgrade because we're obviously going to have the whatever the amount is before it hits the threshold.
Yeah, we need to get Roman Sands on it. It's one of those things that
somebody
else needs to do it because I'm just like,
and I know there were a lot of romance readers when we had the summit in Austin. A lot of romance readers were like, we're all talking about it and how good it is. They were using it, and if you consider that a lot of the romance readers, if their audience, some of them skew a bit older and they have a little more trouble figuring out how to sideload stuff. From what I've heard, anyway. So if their readers are happy with it, then if you're in a genre where readers are even a little more tech savvy and have an easier time of it, you're just not gonna have any problems.
So how do I do this? How do I see the questions? Like I just have this big white panel over to the left. Do you guys know?
The questions actually haven't appeared there for me at all this time. No. Blab seems a little iffy tonight.
Hold on. Kate said, I'm using Gumroad myself. Does using one of these services mess up your Amazon exclusivity?
Yes, absolutely. If you're selling if you're exclusive to Amazon, that doesn't just mean other retailers. It means selling direct. You can't sell direct.
I think she's talking about the books that we're giving away for free, and the books we are giving away for free aren't exclusive. Now, here's something else. So they're not on the free thing on Amazon, but here's something that BookFunnel does, and we haven't used this yet. You can use it for your advanced reader copies. You can use it for your beta readers. You can use it in a way that they'll get a code, and I don't think it'll mess with your Amazon exclusivity because you're using it for beta readers only. And it's not a sales page. It's not like anybody can go there. They have to use a code to get it, and it's not one of those things that I think would mess with it. And you would do, most likely you'd probably do it before you publish anyway. If you are doing something that's exclusively on Amazon, then take it down. But I don't think that would be a conflict there.
Okay, so this is from Lucas, and we get this question a lot, but I think it's always worth re-answering. And it's, what would you do to launch your first book today, knowing what you know now? So I know we answer this frequently, but either you guys, your answers changed at all?
I didn't. What was the question again? I'm sorry.
If you were launching your first book right now, what would you do? Knowing what you know now.
Well, do I have to be the one to say it? Because it kills a part of me. Makes me feel like a dirty, dirty girl. No, for right now, the environment is such that I think if it were my first book, I think I'd have to put it in select, which makes me sad. And just because that's where you're getting the mojo right now. And I would, I don't even know what I would do. What would you guys? Are we talking? Do you have a network? Do you have a list?
I think this is probably starting from nothing. I think when people are asking this question, they're basically saying, "I'm starting from nothing. What do I do?"
then I would probably get the second book done as fast as possible and wouldn't really do any marketing in the first book until
I would
the
write
second.
3 books. I would have that first book free, second book on the list funnel, and I would go in KDP Select.
And you'd write something for your mailing list, some sort of goodie.
Well, maybe, but I would. Yeah, I mean that's almost additional, but I would do the perma-free first book and throw a bunch of free traffic at it.
Yeah, I would too, and I would actually
count on conversions. And
I would add to that too that beyond the first 3 books, I would have an autoresponder ready to go. I wouldn't want to try to catch up with that later. Like I would take the time to write a really good autoresponder that lasted 12 weeks or so, that really bonded with the reader and tried to capture, not with Van and Candy, not that kind, but like really capture the attention of my ideal reader and bond with them over a 3-month period, and then just work as hard as I could to get my 4th book out. But I would treat it as like one big project. Write 3 books, get them on KDP Select, get the traffic, try to get a BookBub, and do that.
I would do it with one
McDonald
book.
says, odd one, but I'm a stand-up comic, not practical to sell my book after shows. Any ideas for getting people to my books? Dark comic thrillers. Best idea I've had so far is physical email sign-up sheet before shows with a chance to win a book for joining. My suggestion would be to create some cards, have a free download. If you have more than one book, have a free download, create some cards with a code where they can go to get that free download, and using something like BookFunnel could help you here too, probably. Then you don't have to deal with answering questions on how to sideload, but have a link to your free book and give that out to people, and they would join your mailing list to get the free book. If you want them on a mailing list, I would think that would be the best way to do it.
Yeah, I would actually offer something similar. I would do an exclusive routine. I mean, if you're a stand-up comic, do like a 5-10 minute set, whatever. That the only way you could see that is
Audio
to join.
file? Oh yeah,
just
audio or YouTube.
Yeah, right. Just have like a little card with QR code or whatever. And they go, and the only way they could see that is to join your list. And I think that's more magnetic, because there's friction there. If you just saw my comedy show, do you want to be on my list for my book? Right? No. But do they want exclusive comedy that the only way they can see it is to get on your list, and then they find out you have a book after you've warmed them up and told, they see you in this other context. So that's what I would do. Okay. Let's see. From Joe, what happened to Lexi Maxwell? Is she no longer writing? Will you phase out the brand? Well, if you'd asked this a couple of weeks ago, I'd have a different answer. Right now, all I can say is that the brand is in transition, I guess. I'm sorry. That's a ball buster. Lexi, fuck, I don't know how to answer that right now.
Well, you don't have to answer it right now.
Yeah, the brand is in
Lexi's
transition.
Not dead.
Yeah, Lexi is not dead. We will have more on that at some point in the future. But no, she was dormant for a long time. I'll say that.
Kat said she had okay. I find this interesting since, as far as volume goes, my top platforms are Google Play and Apple, with Amazon coming in third. I would like to get on Google Play. Well, I've tried to go on there, and it's like shut down to new people. They're like, because their thing is so messed up, and I think we have on there that aren't ours. They were like pirated fucking books. They got so many problems there that they need to figure out, that I think they closed the store down, because I was trying to sign up for an account. That's interesting. That you're wow. So okay. I don't know what to do with that. I just think it's doing well with Google.
I saw Emma Allison.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to do a new question. So if you had more on Google Play. Emma Allison, is perma-free still working? Each new release I keep thinking I'll put it perma-free, but I cave and make it select. We have a few perma-free volumes right now, and I think as long as you get some sort of conversion on that, it's gonna. If it's the first book in a series, then you're gonna see uptake of the following books, unless your first book is bad, and
especially if you can get a book
people don't feel they want to continue
something to help drive traffic to it. I think you kind of do that.
Right. So Invasion is perma-free right now, and we have a BookBub coming up for it. I think it might be June 1st. And I'm really looking forward to that, because perma-free BookBub ads for free are kind of like they'll knock you into the top 5 or something like that. What was the one you guys had recently? Was it you had a BookBub ad? I think it was Collective as well.
Yesterday's
or something
Gone.
for free.
We had Yesterday's Gone.
Was it Yesterday's Gone?
For free.
And it went up to like number 3 or something like that in the store.
The thing about any of these things, like perma-free has an atrophy to it. You'll put something perma-free, it'll get a lot of attention, and then it just kind of decays a little bit over time. And BookBubs are great for getting that attention. But I think it's best to kind of play with it, take it off, put it back on, take it off, put it back on. We have a BookBub coming up for Invasion.
That was actually the second part of it.
Yeah.
I was going to say we'd probably put it paid after that.
Right. And then just see what happens there.
Denver Prophet Jr. asks, do ebooks even sell well on Google Play? I don't know how well they do, but I think they if they don't now, they will. There's a lot of Android phones out there, and I don't know if they're outpacing Apple at this point, or if they're past Apple. I don't know, but I know there's a lot of people that are in the Google ecosystem. I don't know how well books do, but I imagine it's got to be one of those things that is coming up.
The people who say they're doing well on it usually say something like, I got in a few years ago and now they aren't allowing new people. And it's one of those things where you had to catch the wave, it seems.
Yeah. We do know a couple of authors who are doing well on Google Play, but it's a moot point. None of us, we're not invited to the party.
It's a moot point.
Yeah, until they open it up for people.
It's like a cow's opinion.
From Peter, I've just published my first title on Amazon called The Flames of Time and have opted into Select because of the various promotional advantages, including KU, fixed term price, discounting, free download, etc. Ultimately, I'd like to go wide. Having said that, I have no idea what promotional tools exist on the other platforms, though I'm guessing they're going to be similar to Amazon. Can you shed light on the subject, please? As a newbie author, I'm not thinking of looking at any kind of paid advertising until I've got a few more books out. Okay, and herein is the rub. You would think that other platforms have promotional tools, but really they don't. It's all merchandising. So if you have relationships with reps, you can get merchandising, but they don't have the built-in tools. Like that's one of the things that makes KDP Select, as powerful as it is you do get this toolbox. You get countdown deals, you get to be in unlimited. And so that just makes it so attractive. I do think, it's easy for us to say, oh, Amazon, you have all the power and, what are you doing here? But it's not like the other vendors are really stepping up with amazing tools for, authors to combat it. So there's not a lot of light to shed on that subject.
Okay. Caro says, CCSL. What is your best recommendation for getting reviews for new authors with non-existent email lists other than CTA in a book? Are there legit websites that can help?
Well, there's what's it called? Crap, I'm blanking. We did stuff with NetGalley. Yeah.
Kate Morgan said she had luck with FreeBooksy when she used her Kindle free days, but it costs a little bit of money to get reviews.
No, I think that was probably for the perma-free conversation.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, NetGalley is good. You can pay NetGalley and get your books reviewed out there. You need to expect that they're more like Goodreads reviews than Amazon reviews, which tend to be a little more generous. You can definitely get your books reviewed on Goodreads. But reviewing it's a hard thing. That's a tough nut for like pretty much all authors to crack. And so I think that we need to you just have to build that relationship with your with your audience. You could do stuff like reader like engagement stuff, and giveaways and things like that. But really the best way to get reviews is to write quality books and then make the ask, when you can.
Okay.
Okay, this is from David. What are some books that you have bought that seem to help out the process? Where do you find scripts online to just read and see how professionals do it? What is the app that you bought that you use for screenwriting? And do you have any tips for just getting started? I'm guessing
That's all you.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's all about screenwriting. Yeah, so books. Save the Cat is amazing. Sid Field's screenplay is amazing. For finding scripts to read, I don't even remember the different places. There's a lot of different places. Just Google scripts in PDF, and there'll be like 10 sites that come up right away that are databases that you can, find stuff. Go to like AFI's top 100 films of all time, and look
Watch
there.
them.
And you'll find they're pick 10 of those scripts so you can see how things used to be done, and then pick 10 modern scripts. You can usually find the scripts for the best pictures of the year before, and just start really. The app that you're referring to is probably Weekend Read. I don't use it. Oh, no. There's two apps here. So Weekend Read is what I use to read scripts on my iPhone, because it scrolls them really elegantly, because PDFs are just too small. Weekend Read scrolls really nicely, and that's done by John August from Script Notes podcast. He actually developed that app. And then I use Fade Out is the app, and I think it's $49 on the App Store, and it's great. But yeah, the tips I have is just get started. Like just do it. I wrote a few screenplays last year, threw a couple of them away. I've been stalled on Dead City forever just because I've had a lot of other stuff to do. Not because it's not interesting or fun, or I don't have like a hunger to do it, because I absolutely do. It's just been hard to get done with a lot of other things.
Kat Vansel asks, what do you think of review-a-thons where you ask your list to post their reviews for a chance to win a prize? Well, depending how you do it, it could be against FTC regulations. You're not allowed to exchange something else for a review. You can only give a copy of a book for a review. You can promise people future review copies for books, but it has to be it can't be a quid pro quo. Like if you review this, hey, you might win this. That's against FTC regulations. I'd be very careful with that. Tammy Lebrecht says, what happens on my mailing list stays on my mailing list, Dave. Oh, kidding. Yeah, you want to be very careful with that. Yeah, you might never get caught, and tons of people do it. But I would never give that advice, because I think it's one of those things that you want to do the right thing.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, here's the last question that I have in front of me from Cody. Could you do an episode comparing the pros and cons of KDP versus Kindle Scout? I don't know if there's a whole episode there. Maybe there is. Do you guys think there is? I mean, I
don't know that feels like a whole episode to me. I know nothing about Kindle Scout.
I mean, to somebody that was involved in it.
Yeah, we'd almost have to get a guess.
We can't be the experts there.
Yeah. I mean, we could do the pros and cons of KDP Select, but I think we do that all the time. I think that's kind of a constant hum to what we do. I don't know that it's a whole show. And I actually probably should learn a little bit more about Scout, so I have, more of an informed opinion. It just strikes me as something that, the people who are really succeeding in indie publishing just wouldn't need it. I guess.
Kat added, I didn't explain that well, apparently. I meant they post a link to the review, not write a new review, and for books they already read. Well, you can't give somebody something for a review that they read. You can't. It's considered payment. You can't reward them for a review that they've written with anything other than a review copy. That's all you can ever exchange with them.
Yeah, what you can do is take a book that they already read, and you're basically qualifying them as reviewers. So let's say you have a new book that's coming out, and you're going to give review copies out. You can say the only people who can apply for the review copies are people who have reviewed a book before, because that proves to me that you're a reviewer. But you have to be careful with the language for sure.
Now, if you want to give out stuff randomly, but you can't tie it to reviews, you could say, "Hey, I'd really like you to review my book. And by the way, I'm giving something out." And psychologically, people might think, "Well, gee, if I leave a review, I might have more of a chance to win." But you can't.
Which is which is why if you did something like that, you'd really want to spell it out.
Yeah, but you can't trade basically. Dylan wants to know, how much actual writing does Sean do? We hear a lot about him architecting, brainstorming, editing, and doing admin work. So does that leave time to draft along with Dave and Johnny? Sean does a lot of writing.
Yeah, well, I actually started a Dark Crossings story, but I do writing, but I'm not writing rough drafts right now at all. I've been doing screenplay work. My writing has kind of migrated to scripts, but I haven't had time for that lately.
But you're also getting passes at the stuff that, at least on my end. You're the second draft.
Yeah.
Before it comes back again, and then we send it to our editors. So
yeah,
that is writing.
Yeah, Dave's right. Everything that we do is very collaborative. I think we're intimately involved in every step of it. But I am doing this Dark Crossing story, but beyond the Dark Crossings and the scripts, I haven't done a lot of starting from the blank page stuff. My blank page stuff is usually about beats, story shopping. Does Sean sleep? And then Rachel says, none of them sleep. They are machines made of words and magic.
And I added words, magic, and hate.
Yeah, right. We got to get the hate in there. I sleep like a baby. I go to bed pretty early at night, and I wake up between 5 and 5:30 every day. I also take a nap on days when I can.
I go to bed about 5:30 every day and wake up.
Dave,
I usually go to bed about 11:30, and normally wake up at 6. But we're just in this new house now, and we have gas. Well, it's actually propane for the stove and the heat, and so we ordered propane, and the truck showed up at 5. That was nice, and it's a little neighborhood too, so it's like this truck beep 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 outside that for all the neighbors, and we won't be using those motherfuckers again. So normally I sleep.
Emma asked if we consider becoming an actual publishing company, producing other indies. We are an actual publishing company. As far as producing people, I mean, there's us, and we took Garrett on recently, but other than that, we're not actively seeking, because it is a lot of work to work with somebody. We're not going to work with just anybody. It's got to be something that is compatible with us, in that there is. Garrett came to us, out of a long time ago as a listener, and we just
that took 4 years, that relationship. Like that's
I don't trust anyone. That's the bottom line.
Yeah,
and he basically wore us down. I mean, let's be honest.
Well,
like we just had nothing.
I think long term, yes, and we have some very long term gestating plans, but we're not 100% where we want to be as a company right now, and until we have our systems in place and we're a well-oiled machine, and we're not, we're trying very hard. We're working really hard to get things in place. Yeah. I don't think that we would have enough to offer an author who came to us at this point. If you grow too fast
and you don't control your growth, you can fail miserably. And I'm not going to let that happen on my watch.
Well, and I also think I don't know how the other two guys feel, but I don't want to be big. I want our projects to be big. I want the Story Shop to have a lot of users. I want our books to sell a lot of units, but I do not want to be a big company.
I don't want 30 authors. Like that's not appealing. I want hundreds of books that we've created, and I want movies, and I want video games, and I'd be thrilled if Story Shop had 100,000 people writing books in it. That'd be amazing, but we don't need to publish those books.
It is officially 9:30 Eastern. I don't think we have any.
No, yeah, I actually got through the list, so that's great.
Perfect. All right, so we'll do another one of these in June, or maybe the June one will be the one compiled from the summit. So we'll have to see about that. But anyway, so thanks everybody for joining
Thank
us. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
All right. Oh, Christine says boot camp.
Oh yeah,
Oh yes,
yeah. We didn't talk about that at all.
I stopped it too. All right, so
Sucks so much.
yay! That's okay. The call to action will be on it, and the YouTube video is still going. The audio's not
Okay.
because I can't
All right.
add it on there. But yes, thank you, Christine. The boot camp that we're going to be doing, it's free June 13th through 17th.
So we should do our
And it'll
Ask Us
be
Anything
one-
before then, probably.
Christine is so disappointed in us
Yeah.
right now.
It'll be between.
I'm going to blame her. She should have come on earlier.
It'll be 1.5, 2 hours a day, starting at 3 p.m. Eastern time. But then the replay is available for 24 hours, so you don't necessarily have to be there live in order to consume it. And we're basically going to take you through everything that we've, like the evolution of our process. Like here is how we take a book from nothing to
Let me
market.
just put a link in the sidebar.
As of today.
sterlingandstone.net/bootcamp.
Thank you, Amy.
sterlingandstone.net/bootcamp, and it's free. You don't have to pay anything for that. So yeah, go sign up, and the call to actions those will all be on our podcast and stuff. I wish I hadn't stopped it yet, but yes, mention that again on tomorrow. Remember that for the SPP. We need to make a point. Okay, so should I stop the video now?
Might as well.
All right. sterlingandstone.net/bootcamp.
See you
Night,
tomorrow.
everyone.